Greetings, fellow students. My name is Mark Killian, and I will be presenting on Microsoft and their social innovation into my social issue. So before we go too in-depth as to Microsoft's innovation into my social issue, let's go over a brief overview as to who Microsoft is. So Microsoft is a public technology company that's based out of Redmond, Washington, not too far away from Seattle, Washington. They have created a number of products such as the Xbox One, which is a video gaming console, the Surface, which is a 2-in-1 tablet laptop, and Windows phones, which are mobile devices. However, Microsoft is probably best known for their software Windows, which comes standard in the majority of non-Apple computers, although Windows can be installed onto Apple computers. Microsoft was founded 42 years ago. They now employ approximately 124,000 employees and have almost $250 billion in assets. Before we go over what Microsoft is doing in regards to my social issue, let's go over the issue itself, which is climate change. So since the Industrial Revolution, carbon dioxide levels have increased by 45%, and we are now seeing the largest concentration of various gases like carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, and methane in our atmosphere than we've seen in millions of years. This has resulted in part because we are using an increased amount of fossil fuels, such as coal or oil. Of the emitted carbon dioxide, about 30 to 40% of it gets dissolved into waterways, so rivers, streams, oceans, lakes, etc. This affects life there, which in turn affects life on land, which has led to an overall decrease in biodiversity, leading some scientists to say we are currently in a period of the 6th mass extinction, and other scientists to say that we are quickly approaching it. An innovative approach to fixing this would be decreasing our dependence on non-renewable sources like fossil fuels, and instead investing in solar power, wind power, hydropower, which will not produce carbon emissions. So why is this important, and why is this a social issue? Climate change affects everyone, regardless of your lifestyle. You could be living completely off the grid, or you could be dumping toxins into a lake. But it will sooner or later affect you and everyone else you know. So what is the impact of investing into social innovation in regards to this issue? A Stanford experiment conducted earlier this year developed a plan that found that it is completely feasible to have 139 nations, which produce about 99% of emissions in the world, to switch over from fossil fuels to renewable sources while still maintaining a mean increase of less than 1.5 degrees centigrade. Impact of this would create 24 million long-term jobs and save up to 7 million lives per year. In addition to that, indirectly, impact would save world economies about $20 trillion a year in climate and healthcare costs. That would allow these funds to be diverted to other programs such as addressing poverty or developing more technology or a whole slew of other issues. So what is Microsoft doing in regards to climate change? In 2015, Microsoft joined the White House and industry officials in supporting the Paris Accord, which is an international agreement to invest in renewable energy sources, cut carbon emissions, and keep a global mean increase below 2 degrees centigrade. Along with this, Microsoft also signed the American Business Act on Climate Pledge, which promises to do the following 3 things, which have been taken directly from the agreement itself. I'll pause and give you a few seconds to read it. So what has been Microsoft's impact from their social innovation? Since July 1st, 2012, Microsoft has been carbon neutral, which means they either emit no carbon dioxide from their operations, or if they do, they have a means to negate the carbon that they emit. These initiatives has improved the lives of over 3 million people. Microsoft also has an internal carbon fee system, which means that if they emit carbon, then they pay a fee, and this fee has driven support for initiatives in over 60 different countries that Microsoft operates in, which relates to the 3 million lives that they have improved. In addition, quote, Microsoft will continue to explore opportunities to improve energy efficiency, enable growth of renewable energy and sustainability, both across company and with our partners around the world. What are some of Microsoft's struggles, successes, and accomplishments in regards to their social innovation? One of the struggles Microsoft has had to deal with recently is external political forces that have decreased the incentive to continue investing in renewable energy. Some of the successes that they've seen have been creating products like Bing that have no carbon emissions. So when one searches on Bing and data is transferred to a data center, that data center produces no carbon emissions. Their buildings also produce no emissions. Some accomplishments that Microsoft has seen is an A rating on the CDP's report card, which is short for the Carbon Discourse Project. What are some recommendations for improving the social innovation of Microsoft? I have 3 main points. Number 1 would be to require environmental standards of partners and contractors that Microsoft works with. This could be making sure that the companies they work with run off at least 20% renewable energy or 80% renewable energy, just some general standard that their partners and contractors must comply with in order to work with them. A second would be to merge to ensure that standards are met. This could be a vertical merge or a horizontal merge, but a merge of some type just to make sure that standards are met with Microsoft's end goal of sustainability. And a third would be with employees themselves. Microsoft employees are able to commute to work via a completely green bus, but they still have to drive to a parking lot to get to the bus. So an incentive Microsoft could invest in would be subsidizing hybrid or electric cars that their employees buy.